By the way, you never know what people are going through. So I feel like it is very important to just be emotionally intelligent and also just to try and understand the other people's point of view. Try and get to know why they acted the same way. And please do not go and start accusing. Eda, why did you do this? And then after 1 minute you realize, no, she's actually not the one who did it. And you're like, I'm actually the one who did it. But you already went and started pointing fingers. Don't try to have a conversation and get to understand actually if whatever information you have is the actual story. Welcome back to the Balance It podcast. This is a platform where we have discussions about purpose, wellness, personal development, and lifestyle in general.
And in today's episode, we will be talking about emotional intelligence. Yeah. We want to understand what is emotional intelligence, how can we implement emotional intelligence in our daily lifestyles, and how is it even affecting us back at home or also in the business and the workplaces. So I am your host, I'm Eda Onyoni.
And I'm Gertrude Nasike. So to start us off, when you hear the word emotional intelligence, what comes to your mind?
Emotions.
Well, tell us more. Tell us more here
about emotions. How are we intelligent with our emotions? So basically, it's understanding or the ability of being able. Why am I using a lot of being able? But the ability of being able to understand my emotions and understand the other person's emotions as well. So if I'm in a social gathering, being able to understand how I am feeling and how you are feeling and make a decision on how to move on to the next phase.
That's really nice. For me, I think it's the same thing. I would just add on it. It brings the aspect of empathy to myself, in a sense that I try to understand the reason behind it, behind the feeling, as you've said, and also empathy towards the other person whom I'm communicating with or whoever I'm within that situation with, to get into their shoes and know their position at this point where they are expressing themselves in this particular way that probably, if I'm not empathetic, I would have probably missed out on knowing the reason behind it. So yes, it brings the aspect of empathy when I think of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, yes. I agree. And I think emotional intelligence, because you have now brought in the aspect of empathy, it has like four major elements, whereby now empathy is now
one of them.
So there are like four elements of emotional intelligence, and we have self-regulation. Self-regulation is whereby you are able to control your own emotions, and that is the self aspect. And now if you're feeling high, or maybe if you're feeling bad, like just trying to soothe yourself and regulate your own emotions internally. And then there is self-awareness. Self-awareness is big because it all stems from self-awareness.
True.
So being able to live well with people, being able to be authentic with people, it stems directly from being self-aware. The other thing is social awareness, because we say emotional intelligence is myself and yourself being able to understand both emotions. So we have social awareness. So social awareness is where I am able to understand how you are feeling as an individual. Maybe the way I spoke something did not come out well. So how you are reacting to whatever that I said, and being able to understand actually how you are reacting, and just be able to identify, maybe in the next time, then maybe I should not be able to, I should not have reacted that exact same way. The other thing is relationship management. So after I have understood my emotions, I have understood your emotions, then there is relationship management. So how do we handle now our relationship in terms of showing up for you when you need me, showing up for myself when I need me, showing up for the community when they need me. So it is about relationship management. Like all these 4 elements are all interlinked, because when you talk about self-awareness, social awareness, they're all interlinked, but they all boil down to one thing, which is now emotional intelligence.
That's really well put. And I'm just thinking, emotional intelligence is, or leave alone emotional intelligence, but emotions are things that we go through daily. You can be happy, you can be sad, you can just be there. That's still an emotion, right? And I just would want to know, how do we get to implement all these aspects, the self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management, and all these other elements of emotional intelligence in our daily lives, because emotions are inevitable. How do we get to implement this?
I think it boils down to self-awareness. And what I normally advise people, we have the online tests that we all have, that we can be able to easily access. Like there is one called 16 personality tests. We'll just put somewhere so that people can actually do the test, because these tests are tests that help us actually get to know who we are as individuals. Because there are some elements that you just do something and you're like, why did I even do that?
Yeah, very true.
So those personality tests, they help you understand why you are actually doing that. And they also let you know your strengths and your weaknesses, such that if you are behaving in a certain way, then you know it is stemming from something. And if once you know whatever that thing it is stemming from, then it is easy to actually change your next reaction based on that same, if it is a different context. So for me, it boils down to self-awareness and doing all these, like doing life generally. We have to know ourselves in order to be able to show up in the world.
Yeah, very true.
I feel I strongly believe that being able to know yourself will help you show up in the world as a better person. So I think how you can be able to implement maybe some of these elements, number one is by knowing who you are, because it is from knowing who you are that then you can be able to show up in the world. Maybe you can just add something else.
Yeah, I think you've already said about knowing who you are. For me, I would say just trying to understand the fact that we've all been brought up in different environments. That really gives you peace of mind. Whatever Eda has been taught to be maybe right, or the right way of doing things, is not right to everyone. It was right in that context. The same way for me, maybe the way I've been brought up and told, maybe, oh, this is how you should do things, or this cup does not supposed to be on the table after, that's not right for everyone. Like every other person has a way they've been brought up, like differently. So within when you understand this fact, you will be able to really just be more emotional. I would say for me, it has enabled me to be more emotionally intelligent, because I would see something that probably doesn't sit right with me in terms of maybe a cultural aspect, or in terms of the social aspect with the people we are relating to. But if it's not infringing on my rights or my boundaries, or my personal space, I won't be bothered as much, or I can just brush it off, or I'm in a better position to understand this person, because I'm of the opinion that maybe this is what they've been taught to be okay in their context, and probably they're also not open to trying to understand. And also another thing is just being open-minded, being open to learning other people, being open to also just understanding that people are different. You cannot all be, we are billions of people in this world. We can't all be like Getty, like this is the way you should live and Getty is the standard. No, we all have different things. And so when you get into different relationships or you're engaging with different people, it helps you just understand, and that would really help with the way you interact or even express your emotions, because sometimes you might actually be frustrated with what someone is doing or how they talk to you, or like, you know, just a few weeks ago we were being taught in class about conflict seekers. You see, like those people who everything is at peace, but they just want to seek. Like I'm just seeing Eda is looking beautiful, but there's just this hair that is disturbing me. So I just let me just go and poke that hair. You see, I'm just going to seek conflict, but now trying to understand that probably it's someone's environment which has contributed to them being that way, will help me not get angry every time someone tries to seek a conflict with you or someone just tries to be in your business. You understand? So yes, so definitely being open-minded helps me implement these elements in my daily life, and also understanding that people are different and people are from different cultures and social upbringing. Yes,
you had brought in the aspect of empathy, and I strongly believe that empathy, like how it all begins is by having a conversation.
Yes,
and for us to have a conversation, we should, or we must be able to be cognizant of the way we are communicating with each other, and that is when now empathy comes in. So I feel like building our communication skills is also important as well, to help us implement these emotional intelligence elements, because if I know my environment and where I am, I can be able to use the right words for that specific environment. And also with that, I can be able to know who I am speaking with, so that I can be able to use the right words for that specific person. So if I know maybe you're my friend and I know you don't like to be talked to in a certain way, then I will know now, using my emotional intelligence, that I should know that I need to talk to Gertrude in this specific way, or maybe talk to her maybe at night is when maybe she can be able to easily understand me, or knowing exactly what specific time to bring in the conversation.
That's so funny. Like the fact that you can talk to someone at night, that's when they can.
It depends. But
that's very true.
So if I know I'll talk to you during the day and you're busy and you cannot handle the conversation, then I know speaking to you maybe at night would be the best time, because you're cool down and you know. So I feel like knowing, being able to know our communication and how we communicate as well with people is also important. And we had in our communication episode, we had talked about assertive communication, because this is the kind of communication style that we should all embody as individuals, or like being assertive in our communication. So I think building that assertive communication style can also help us implement this.
I think that's really well said. And I feel like there are several times, probably, yes, we've tried to be emotionally intelligent, but there are those situations that it's like they're just too much to handle, and then we find ourselves maybe going overboard or now reacting in ways that we did not want to react. How would you probably say we can improve?
How I have handled it, from a personal experience, and it came with, I don't want to say age, but it came with a lot of experience of dealing with different people. Active listening, because you know, sometimes you are listening to somebody, but you just want them to say what is in your mind, and now it brings in the conflict of you didn't want to say whatever was in my mind. So active listening And I didn't say active hearing, because hearing is different from listening.
Hearing
so
is everything.
active listening, and just trying to understand what you are saying from your own perspective, and not from my perspective, because I'm the one listening, has helped me, or has helped me shape my emotional intelligence. And also trying to get feedback from the person that I am talking to. If maybe you expressed yourself in a certain way and I didn't clearly understand, so it's actually courteous to just ask, did you say this and this, and paraphrase exactly whatever that you said, and you'll be like, no, I did not say that. Then now I actively listen to whatever that you are saying. So what has really shaped me, active listening and actually following through the pattern of whatever that you are saying, and now trying to get feedback. Did you say this, or did you mean this, or like using such phrases has helped me.
That has really just made me to remember. There's someone who was talking about like context matters. We can say the same statement right now, but we will interpret it differently. So I think that's a very good tip, like just trying to understand like if exactly that is what they said. For me, I would just say what works for me is I would just draw myself from out of the situation. Like if I feel like I'm really trying to contain my emotions and really try to express myself both respectively, and I've really tried to understand your point of view, but the situation keeps on escalating, or the situation, like, it's like it keeps provoking you. I normally choose to, I wouldn't say ignore, but just to get out of the picture for a while. Like, you would talk to me and tell me, oh, I don't know this and this and this. And I'll just tell you, okay, and leave. I won't engage you, because I know, yes, I've tried maybe to contain to a particular point, but if you keep poking me, I'm going to react in a way that I don't want to. You see? So I normally take a step back, go, come back when I'm more calm now. Yeah, come back when I'm more calm, and maybe sometimes it's something that I've also learned with time and with so much experience with people, telling people directly if something doesn't sit well with me. So for instance, right now, maybe you want to do something, or maybe you have an opinion about something and it doesn't sit well with me, I would tell you from the onset, maybe, or a little bit earlier, this doesn't sit well with me. And which is a good thing, because now it helps you, even as a friend or as a person on the other side who is communicating with me. Like, it helps you understand, by the way, maybe Gertrude doesn't like being talked to this way, or Gertrude doesn't see this in this way, you see. But for those instances that I did not outrightly say it, and someone keeps doing the same thing and just pushing you to the wall, I just normally take a step back and just go and deal with my emotions. Which really works for me a lot. Yes.
And I think like I normally like the way you express your boundaries very clearly, but it is like one of those hard conversations for people to actually have. And maybe somebody on the other side who is also being told no, they definitely feel like, why is she telling me this way? Maybe you can tell us how you handle these difficult conversations and just being okay, because I'm sure there is somebody out there who is like, I really want to tell this person not to do this to me, but I am really struggling. Maybe you can tell us how it has been for you, and how you got to a point now you are comfortable just saying, I am not comfortable with this.
I think it's normally said experience is the best teacher. For me, I would just say it is through the experiences that I've also gone through, because I used to be, I say I was extremely empathetic, and maybe hey, we had a conversation about self-awareness and boundaries as well. I was also a people pleaser, and back then I didn't know I am actually a people pleaser. I just thought like I'm just being good to people. You know, people are good. Now if I don't say yes to Eda maybe has requested me to give her this or to lend her this. If I don't give her, where will she get it? You know, and I would say I was too empathetic, but I saw the negative effects that it brought to me and to also my character with time, because there was a point now I was feeling like you're really overwhelmed. It's like you're carrying almost everyone's burdens, and you're like, I really want to tell Eda, no, I can't take you there. I really want to tell maybe my brother, no, I don't have that money, or my sister, no, I can't do that, you know. But I want to say it, but I wasn't saying it. So with time, after going through those experiences, it's gone to a point I felt extremely overwhelmed. And at this point, I think is when I started building myself back to the point that I understood that I am the one who matters. Yes, you matter. Every other person around me matters. But if I'm not feeling myself first, I'm not going to be able to extend the same grace to you guys. If I'm not giving myself grace, if I'm not maybe loving myself, if I'm not pushing myself or motivating, hyping myself, I'm not going to have the same energy to even give anything to maybe the other people around me. So I think it came from the experience, and that is just basically my journey to the point now that after that I now realized it is okay to just tell someone no. Yes, of course, how you say it matters, and different people have different ways of you telling them no, you know. Yeah, so I think that is what has made me right now, I'm just okay with telling someone, no, I can't do that. No, and I don't feel guilty about it, as long as I know exactly this is for the good of all of us. Because if I'm having burnout or mental stress, you also know you're also not going to be good, because if I'm stressed, I'll definitely not relate well with you. You'll come and tell me something nice or just something happy, but I'll just give you a bad energy, and all of us will suffer, you know. So understanding that it's all for the betterment of everyone has enabled me easily tell people my boundaries, like, no, this, let's go this side, no, I cannot, or let's go, I don't know, buy something, I'm not in a position to, I don't have that money. And it gives me so much peace. So this is basically how I've just transitioned. But just start slowly. Don't push yourself to just tell people no, and then you start feeling guilty, because that guilt feeling also is something that can overwhelm you as well. So just start slowly with the little things that don't sit well with you, and then you'll see the difference.
Yeah, I agree. And do you think emotional intelligence in the workplace and maybe, let me say, outside the workplace or the business place, is it the same?
I would say it is different. I feel like in the workplace, but it also, as you said, it depends with someone as well, someone's personality. If someone has all these key pillars within themselves, they're aware of themselves as a person, they're aware of the environment, they know that treating maybe my colleague is, this person is human first before becoming an employee. If someone is in that place personally, then they're going to be to have a high emotional intelligence in the workplace. But I would say maybe it's arguably correct. Feel free to give your comments, but I would say maybe in the workplace it's a little bit different, because there are those maybe hierarchies. Maybe there's the boss. As a boss, maybe you need to be emotionally intelligent. But for most bosses that I've seen, even currently, like some people that you hear about are not really emotionally intelligent, because you would see maybe an employee has just done a very small thing and someone would just literally burst out, and you're like, this is just, it's something that you just have told her, Gertrude, you can just take this book and put it here, that is okay.
Yeah.
But you have to shout, you have, and it's not that big of of maybe a deal. So I would say it's kind of different, and maybe also it's because of the whatever is at stake in terms of business as compared to whatever is at stake in your personal life. Because you see, for business, maybe companies have goals, companies have targets, companies have profits to meet or other sales targets that they need to meet. And if maybe a boss is not also being harsh sometimes, or any small mistake in terms of negligence might cause a big cost to the company. So maybe that's something that contributes to some of them not being emotionally intelligent. But I feel like it's something that should really be embraced in the business or work environment. Yes.
I'm of the opinion that because we are dealing with one person here, what is changing is the context. So just the same way you have brought it out very outrightly, is that these are different contexts.
Yes.
But emotional intelligence is with the individual. It is not. It's not like a different personality that you get to the workplace and you are now a different Gertrude from the one that we know outside. I feel like it's the context that is different, so it brings different characters out of you when you're in whichever context that you are in. Some of the opinion that maybe it's the same. It's emotional intelligence inside and outside is the same. It's just that the contexts are different and they require a different kind of or a different level of emotional intelligence. Because if I know, if I'm an empathetic person, or if I'm a self-aware, I can regulate my emotions. I know how to deal with my relationships. I know how to deal with the social context. I'm still the same person. I'm still the same person who knows that even when I get maybe a bad information, maybe from a client, how our services were delivered, I'm still the same when maybe I'm talking to my younger sister and she has done something wrong and I need to confront her. I'm still the same person. So it's just that the contexts are different, but I'm still the same person. Maybe it's just different characters coming out.
But don't you think these different characters are exactly what informs that emotional intelligence, or that level of emotional intelligence? Because just as I said initially, if this is someone who knows, who is working on it as a person, there are those people who don't understand it as a person. So they know I'm related to Eda by blood, so by default I need to be good to her, I need to relate well with her. But because I'm not related with this employee by blood, or we don't have any relationship, we are not friends, so we can't be like, I can't treat her as my sister, you see. But for someone who has worked on themselves, and that's why you said self-awareness is very important. For someone who has worked on themselves, they'll have one identity, they'll have that specific character that you would find they understand Ed as my sister and maybe Gertrude as my co-worker or my colleague. They're both humans first before becoming my sister. So there's that basic way you need to treat a human before even you start looking at the context. So I feel like if they're not that self-aware, it means their identity is also different, because they're, as you're saying, these are two different characters. These characters actually inform that emotional intelligence. It informs how you will understand the other person, because how would you explain I'm able to understand my small sister having done something wrong, but I'm not able to understand my co-worker's position when they also do something wrong? You see, yeah, so yeah, there's an imbalance. So that was my argument. But as you said, actually, it's still the same. It's just that the level kind of differs.
Yeah. Then clearly, just from that conversation, then it means there are so many barriers.
Yeah. Definitely, there's so many barriers.
So many barriers for to emotional intelligence. What are some of the barriers?
I would just start with, first of all, even just understanding itself.
Yeah,
just understanding it extensively, it's a barrier already, because we might have different understandings in it. And then another barrier now, to go back to whatever we've been talking about, the context. Contexts are different, and it's a barrier in that, just using the same example, I have my sister on the left, I have my colleague on the right. These two different contexts required you to act maybe, or to make decisions in a different way. With my sister, maybe whatever mistake she has done, the stakes are not maybe affecting a larger magnitude of people in the company or people outside the company. But when it comes to you as a colleague or you as a boss, especially let's say in health environment, or let's use maybe a health environment, and maybe you as a worker just mistakenly does something, and then a patient gets hurt or something just goes wrong. You see, the stakes are high, and you see, so I feel like the context is a barrier, because sometimes you as a boss would really need to express yourself, because the frustration is the top management are going to talk to you. You are the one to be answerable as such, as much as it's not you who has done the mistake itself, but you're the one who is still answerable. Or in a situation whereby it's a high risk manufacturing industry, that one small negligence would cause you to even lose your arm, or just something small can cause a very big injury to you. You will still be answerable to it. So I feel like it's the context becomes a barrier on how you're going to emotionally express yourself.
Yeah, and I also go back to self-awareness.
Yeah.
Self-awareness is a very big barrier, because if you don't know how you can manage how you manage your emotions, then definitely you'll just be managing emotions differently in different contexts. So I feel like self-awareness, people should just work on themselves and do the inner work, and intentionally do the inner work.
Yes.
And also the other thing is how we communicate. I might know how to communicate, but the person that I'm talking to does not know how to communicate. So that is a barrier in itself already. So how my emotional intelligence comes in is trying to understand that this person does not know how to communicate. So how am I going to drive this conversation such that we get to a point where we are at an agreement at the end of the day? So I feel like also people should also work on their communication styles.
That's very true. I like your pointers a lot.
Just work on your communication styles, because that way it is easier for us to even have conversations in a manner that
without shouting
as adults, and still come to an agreement despite it being an unreconcilable agreement. So let's just do the inner work. So if you work on yourself, I work on myself, we both will be a better generation, we both will be better parents, we both will be better students. But now if you don't, and maybe I do or I don't, and you do, or we both don't work on ourselves, then no.
Yeah, I think that is very true. First of all, the communication bit, it is very true, because sometimes you might really want to pass a message calmly, but this other person doesn't understand.
use a different tone.
The tone might bring the difference, but no, I think we should really work on the communication. And I think this brings us to things that maybe we see in ourselves that make us feel like we are actually emotionally intelligent, or if you see yourself acting a certain way, you feel like, yeah, of course. Yeah. What are some of the things that make you think or make you feel like you're actually emotionally intelligent?
Listening.
Yeah.
Actively listening. That is number one. Number two, something that has made me feel like I'm emotionally intelligent is trying to understand from this person's point of view and not my point of view. Because often, like so many times, I've found myself, I'm listening to you, but I'm actually not listening to you. Like, you're just saying something, but
you're hearing.
Actually, I'm hearing. I'm actually hearing, but because I know the context that we are in and I know the topic that we are having a conversation about, then I am able to respond. But I actually don't respond to whatever that you are actually saying. So trying to put myself in the position of the other person who is speaking. Now when I'm in that element, I feel like, okay, you are now growing in terms of your emotional intelligence and also how I react to things. Because sometimes you are just talking to somebody, or maybe somebody says something wrong, or maybe that does not sit well with you, and you decide to just throw a word in, and you don't know that what that word has, like the impact that that word has on that person. So like recently, just as you say, just like sliding that comment off, or maybe just calming myself down and telling myself, okay, maybe he or she didn't mean this, so let me just be quiet. Let me just shut my mouth and let it slide. That one has also helped me a lot. Like just trying to think, how am I supposed to react in this specific situation, and react accordingly. Sometimes just emotions are all over the place, and you find yourself throwing words here and there, but the accountability aspect, I feel like, is very important for me. Like, that is because now I'm in that place where I want to be better, I want to do better, like being accountable to myself, and I'm like, was that really even necessary? If you could have done this, then maybe it could have brought a different result. And I feel like that self-accountability, so that self-checking over and over again has helped me feel like, we are doing well, we are doing well.
Yeah, for me it's also more or less the same, because first of all, understanding that what has really worked for me for a long time, and I don't know, it's something I keep even telling like people, even you at times, like when someone complains or someone's acts the way they are acting, or someone complains about how probably you're acting, I normally just say people have been brought up in different environments, because I normally try to put myself in their situation, and I would think, I was actually there once, where I would see, why has Eda tied her hair like that? And it would bother me, and I'm like, yo, why is it bothering you? It's not even your head.
Why is it bothering you?
It's not even your head. Or just seeing something that it's not okay with you, and I would really feel the urge to comment or just to poke someone and say, don't do this, and I realize, no, that is how you've been brought up. This is not okay for you, but for them it is okay, and it's not like it's wrong. It's not like it's infringing your rights or it's hurting you. That's what makes them feel good. That's what makes them feel happy, and it's not affecting you in any way. So just let it be. So understanding that people are from different environments gives me a lot of peace. Yes. Another thing that also makes me know that I'm actually emotionally intelligent, nowadays, just as I've said, when I feel that sometimes it's like, hey, the emotions are getting too high and I need to make a decision, I will delay the decision. I won't make the decision at that time. Initially, I would like, decision done.
Yeah.
Eda has said this. Okay, so this is how we're going to to decide or to take this from now on. You see, that's what I would do in the past. But now understanding that I can actually delay a decision, and well, now I'm calm, think and weigh the different situations from both the emotional and logical point of view, helps me now make better decisions. That's also another sign that has shown me that with time, I've become very emotionally intelligent. But something that normally helps me know I'm now off course, or helps me understand that I need to do some work, is when things that did not bother me before start bothering me. You see?
Yeah, that's big.
When probably the things that would just happen, they might be small, they might be big.
Always small.
Mostly. Yeah. So if before they never used to bother me and they've started bothering me, I just normally know it's a red flag. You need to start working on yourself. And I normally try to understand, why am I feeling this way? I'm feeling bored or frustrated or just angry about something that initially it would just happen and I was like, next, I would take it as a joke or it wouldn't really bother me. But if it now starts bothering me, then I know then there's something wrong. There's something that I need to start working on from within. And that is really a good way that I normally assess when I'm going off course with my emotional intelligence.
Yes. It actually happened to me that way, but it happened in the positive side. Now it was this thing didn't bother me, but it is because I have grown and I have seen the importance of that thing. So that is why it is bothering me right now. So I feel like understanding the trigger, like why are you feeling that way, or why didn't you even feel it before? Yeah. So just understanding what is this different thing that has come in between that, because it could be positive on
it could be positive actually,
but now if it is negative, then now is when now you need to start now working on yourself.
Very true. I think that's very true, because I remember these ones that I'm saying that I would notice now they are bothering me. It's because when they were not bothering me, I was sure I was at a different kind of level within. There was a way I was feeling within, and that's why it wasn't a bother, because I had come to understand different contexts. But now when it starts bothering me, I just now know it is a trigger. You need to start working from within.
And now since we are talking about that, we definitely understand why it is important. Maybe you could just let us know, why is it important for you, or even for the world, for people to just be emotionally intelligent?
I would say it is important because we live in a social world, like in a social environment. And being emotionally intelligent allows us to interact well with others. It can be our families, our peers, So helping us build these relationships, if we are not emotionally intelligent, most of the time we are going to keep burning bridges, and then we think that it's just the way they are, or such like statements. But no, it's just that sometimes we need to understand that people are also going through a lot of things. I can see you today here, you're really maybe presenting well, but I don't know what has happened in the past week. And maybe you're just being strong right now, and just trying to understand that whoever you might be talking to might have been in a different kind of situation. And it just reminds me, there's a podcast I was listening, and there was this guest who was also talking about how with time he has kind kind of matured, I think, in terms now of emotions. I think this was like 3 months ago. And he was saying initially he would really be frustrated. They would go in a restaurant. He likes a very quiet and calm place. If it's in a restaurant, he's going to eat and just be calm. But this specific day, they went to a restaurant with the family. But a few tables from where he was, there was this woman with, like, I think 3 kids. And the kids were making noise, like it was just chaotic. In a normal calm restaurant, it was just extremely chaotic and just chaos. And the woman was just unshaken. She was just seated, unbothered.
Yeah.
And deep within, he really wanted to call the waiter and, like you see, tell them to go and try and calm them down, or just deep within, he was like, he just feels like they should just leave at that point. But he calmed himself down and said he's just not going to react in any way. So he had his dinner. That family finished up and they left. And I think he paid for their dinner or something. And then now 3 days later, when he was going back to the restaurant, I think it was a restaurant that he kept going back. This waiter or whoever was serving them came and told him, like, whatever you did that day was a very good thing. Because that family was just from burying their mom a few hours then, and they had just come to have dinner and go back home. So you can imagine, you've just met maybe Gertrude. She's just seated looking unbothered. And maybe she has done something wrong, yes. Or maybe she has just done something that is not sitting well with you. And then you just start budging words or complaining. You don't know where this person is coming from.
Yeah.
There's this iceberg model. Whatever you're seeing is just the tip. You're just seeing that calm face, but you don't know what's deep under the iceberg. So this is a story that after I heard, I was just like, by the way, you never know what people are going through. So I feel like it is very important to just be emotionally intelligent and also just to try and understand the other people's point of view. Try and get to know why they acted the same way. And please do not go and start accusing. Eda, why did you do this? And then after 1 minute you realize, no, she's actually not the one who did it. And you're like, I'm actually the one who did it. But you already went and started pointing fingers. Don't try to have a conversation and get to understand actually if whatever information you have is the actual story. So I think that's why it's very important. People are facing a lot of issues. So being emotionally intelligent helps us relate with them well.
I had the same point as well. So I wouldn't add anything further, because relationships management is all about emotional intelligence. Business relationships, romantic relationships, family relationships, it's all about emotional intelligence. And even to just as the same thing that you said, we are social beings, so there is no way you can live as an island. And for you to be able to live properly with people, you definitely need emotional intelligence. So I wouldn't add any further than that.
Wow. So and I think, just as you said, it's about people management. How would you say emotional intelligence helps in decision making? Because for me, I know nowadays I really delay decisions if my emotions are acting up, are very different at that particular point where I need to make a decision. I just try to delay the decision to calm down so that I can think it from a logical also perspective. How do you think emotional intelligence influences decision making?
I think it's actually very important when it comes to decision making. Let me give an example for maybe somebody who is working in an organization and needs to make, let me give maybe financial decisions. but these financial decisions is as a result of so many other decisions by other different departments in the company.
Yeah.
Your emotional intelligence will help you know who to go to request a specific information, or who will add more value to your decision when you're making that financial decision.
Wow.
So I feel like this emotional intelligence, it's something very crucial, such that you get to know if I need maybe fitness matters, I know I need to come to Gatorade. If I need financial matters, I need to go to Eda. If I need purpose matters, I need to go to this person. Like, it will help you and even easen out the decision making process for you, because you will know who exactly to go to. The other aspect is time. It will help you know the specific time and place to implement that decision, or to request more information about that decision. So if I know you are, just going back to my other example, you are a night person, I can only talk to you at night.
Understands at night. Okay.
Yes, if I know coming to you at night would be the right time for me to come to you, then definitely my emotional intelligence will tell me, go to Gertrude at night, not during the day, because during the day, this is just as an example.
Gertrude understands at night alone.
It's an example. Let me put it out clearly. So it will help me. My emotional intelligence will help me go to Gertrude at that specific time, because otherwise, then my decision will not be as of much value as it could have been if I could have waited for until night. So I think those are my two most important things, or ways in which decision making is attached to emotional intelligence.
That's very true. That's very true. And it just helps you to also be calm, or to look at both sides of the coin before making a decision, not just making a decision with a one-sided story. It helps because you're also being empathetic, looking at what if scenario from the other side and your what if scenario from your own side before you now just make the decision. Like, it's like eliminating some biasness when it comes to decision making.
Yes,
because some people, like most people, make decisions with their own point of view. This is how I feel, this is how I'm seeing, this is how I project it would be, and this is what I'm going to do.
And there is also, you just brought out this aspect. There is an author called Chimamanda Adichie Ngozi. She is, I think, from Nigeria.
She is.
There is a video that she has online. It's the danger of the single-sided story. We'll put the link somewhere, then you get to watch it. It's very powerful. And it just reminded me the same way, maybe an apple, if you put an apple here and bite one side of the apple, when you are from the other side, you'll just see like it is a whole apple. It is not. It has not been bitten on the one side. But from my side, I can see that it is bitten from this side, but I don't know what is happening on this other side. So I feel like it is the same way with emotional intelligence. It will help you be able to see, is this apple full, or is it bitten from one side?
I love that analogy. Because from your end, you'll also think the other end is also just beaten.
Because this is what I can see.
And the other person from the other end would just think, the other end is just full as well. Wow. I love that analogy.
So just as we come to the closure of this, definitely we talk about personal development and personal growth. And definitely we have to talk about how emotional intelligence helps us in our personal development and growth. Maybe you can tell us from your own perspective how personal development, how you have tapped into emotional intelligence in your personal development journey.
I think I would just pick one personal development aspect. I would say my social life. With emotional intelligence, I've been able to improve my relationships with people, with friends, with siblings, and just people around me, the people that I interact with. I would say that is what emotional intelligence has helped me do, because now I'm in a position to actually understand, maybe when Edda did this, it doesn't mean that she did this and as a result now our friendship is over. No, maybe she did this because at that particular time, you see, there are those buts and there are those benefits of doubt and graces that you extend to the friend, or you extend to a family member, because you're like, they probably did this, they had a reason as to why they reacted this way, or they had a reason as to why they said this, not just looking at it from this person said this or did this and it meant like this is, and just cut off friendships and relationships. No, I would say it has really built my relationships, and that is under relationship management, right? Yeah, so I would say that is how it has contributed a lot to my personal development journey.
Yes. And I can agree 100%. Definitely, the social aspect has been built, but I'm also thinking of the aspect of just wholesomely as an individual, how emotional intelligence has helped me, because I'm able to ascertain what I need to do at a specific time and with who.
Oh, wow.
And who I need to reach out to when I need some specific advice or something. So if it is maybe spiritual matters, maybe I'm feeling like maybe my faith is a little bit down, who should I talk to? I feel like that is now still part of the emotional intelligence aspect. So I know if I need maybe spiritual matters, maybe I can talk to Nasike now, not to get showed, something like that.
Yes,
I can talk to Nasike. Yeah, or if it is maybe, let me say, about my relationship, I can talk to this person, who can be able to, just being able to know who exactly I need to, and definitely managing my emotions. Definitely, because our mental health is directly linked also with our emotions.
True. Very true.
So the mental health aspect has also my mental health aspect has also been improved because of the emotional intelligence that I've been able to grow over time, which has come with experience and age and just growing up and being in right environments with the right minded people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow, that is really great. I loved like the insights, and I think I'm taking home the analogy of the apple, the beaten apple. Yeah, I think I'll go and research more about it. It's a good way to look at like such like concepts or contexts. So we've come to the end of this episode, and we would like you to also share just what really works for you and your understanding about emotional intelligence, and also make sure you share this video with your family and friends, and also subscribe.
Definitely. And until next time,
bye.